What's up, Vault Dwellers? Well, guess what? We did it. 1 whole year of Retro Vault. That's 12 months of digging through dusty VHS bins, questionable streaming rips, and movies just so cheap they probably couldn't afford their own craft services table. And along the way, we've tackled like every kind of parody and spoof B-movie and cult film imaginable. I mean, I'm talking monster mashups, sci-fi spoofs, bargain bin Bond movies, and even some nuns on roller skates. Some of these videos I cleaned up for this mega compilation, and some I just left gloriously messy. Because, I mean, let's be honest, bad edits and weird jump cuts, they're just part of the Retro Vault DNA. So buckle up, grab your whoopee cushion, maybe even a fake mustache, and let's celebrate a year of cinematic nonsense together. This is the Retro Vault Parody Supercut.
A corn-fed fool with a lot of muscle mass, but it's time for Bullhorn to get up in that ass. Wah!
All right, let's get started with Black Dynamite, which it isn't just a parody. It's a full-blown love letter to 1970s blaxploitation, dipped in satire and served with a side of kung fu soul. Michael Jai White plays the titular hero, ex-CIA, Vietnam vet, ladies man, and a bad dude extraordinaire. You see, when his brother gets iced and the ghetto's flooded with a new drug, Dynamite's got to clean up the streets with fists, nunchucks, and righteous indignation. What makes this spoof work so well is that it just plays it straight. The actors commit hard, the sets look authentic.
Let everybody know, and suckers be warned, that this is the outcome when you mess with Bullhorn.
And the script reads like it was ghostwritten by Pam Grier and Shaft's mustache. It's full of era-accurate boom mic flubs, continuity errors, and dialogue that feels like it was dubbed by a drunk poet.
Looking for me?
The film even includes a conspiracy about malt liquor that's so absurd, it just circles back to genius.
What he's saying is, Anaconda malt liquor gives you...
What is another word for richer?
You know, White he's just phenomenal. He's deadpan, over the top, and smoother than a satin jumpsuit. And the film's editing and musical cues mimic 1970s grindhouse flicks with such detail you'd swear it was pulled from a dusty Betamax tape. Black Dynamite isn't just poking fun at the genre, it's flexing with it.
Who the hell is interrupting my kung fu? Who the hell is this?
Black Dynamite?
Even the mere mention of the word is sufficient to induce panic.
Tomato.
The tomatoes are back, and this time they're extra saucy. So Return of the Killer Tomatoes, it's the rare parody sequel that knows it's a sequel and makes fun of the fact just constantly. It picks up a decade after the first movie's fruit apocalypse and throws in everything from mad scientists to meta jokes so self-aware they practically elbow you in the ribs. And oh yeah, baby George Clooney's in it. That's right, Batman himself plays a sleazy ladies man with a mullet and a closet full of ridiculous outfits. I mean, he steals like every scene he's in, right before the film grinds to a halt for a literal commercial break for Pepsi, Nestle Crunch, and of course, tomatoes. The movie weaponizes its own low budget like a comedy battering ram. Characters complain about a lack of funding mid-scene and then turn to the audience and ask for more sponsors. It's parody, it's satire, and somehow it's also a mutant veggie or fruit horror flick. This is a fourth wall demolishing fever dream that knows it's stupid and proudly wears that stupidity like a tomato-shaped badge of honor.
Well, how about the Camptown Ladies?
The Camptown Ladies.
Oh, you know. The Camptown Ladies sing this song, doo-dah, doo-dah. Camptown racetrack 5 miles long, all the doo-dah day.
All right, let's ride into Mel Brooks territory, so buckle up your saddle, and you might have to cover your ears. So Blazing Saddles is the Western spoof that shot every sacred cow in sight. Cleavon Little stars as Bart, a black sheriff in an all-white town who rides in, breaks stereotypes, and breaks the fourth wall with equal force.
Up yours!
I mean, this film, it's fearless. It skewers racism, politics, Hollywood, and horse flatulence in equal measure. Gene Wilder's Waco Kid, it's just deadpan charm, and Madeline Kahn's parody, it's just show-stopping.
Here I stand, the goddess of desire, sets men on fire.
Brooks himself even pops up in multiple roles, including a Yiddish-speaking native chief. I mean, this is the kind of movie we're dealing with, and it's amazing. The last act descends into just total meta madness, breaking through the film set, across studio lots, and eventually into a movie theater showing the movie. It's like a cinematic snake eating its own tail while telling some dirty jokes. Despite the controversies then, and the ones that still exist, Blazing Saddles remains a masterclass in punching up with precision. It mocks bigotry by exposing it, and does so with more fart jokes than Shakespeare ever dared.
Hey kids, how would you like to hear this on the screen instead of the great show you came to see? That's what you sound. Honest.
You know, there's camp, and then there's parody, and then there's blood-sucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh. This one walks straight out of the grave of 1980s horror spoofs, doused in ketchup blood and wearing its offensiveness like a party hat. The plot, as such there is one, follows bumbling detectives trying to solve a series of ancient Egyptian-themed murders happening in a Rust Belt town. Naturally, right? The film feels like the bastard child of Airplane and a Herschel Gordon Lewis splatter flick. I mean, you've got hooker mummies, nonsensical gore, and crime scene investigators who treat decapitations like an inconvenience during their lunch. The one-liners come fast and dumb, and the practical effects are gloriously rubbery, and the tone, it jumps between parody, satire, and just outright surrealism. Is it good? Not really. Is it fun? It's like a chainsaw to the logic center of your brain. It's the kind of film that knows how dumb it is and just leans so far into it. I mean, you can't help but be dragged along for the ride, especially if the ride is in a hearse filled with cursed hot dog buns.
And Hennon Chambers as the famous French scientist. I'm the famous French scientist sent over here to find the UFO.
This 15-minute short is like Close Encounters after eating too many Pop-Tarts and watching a Benny Hill marathon. Closet Cases of the Nerd Kind is a rapid-fire, low-budget parody of Spielberg's Alien obsession, and it's jam-packed with whipped cream, talking appliances, and a soundtrack that sounds like someone sneezed on a synthesizer. The plot follows a mashed potato-obsessed everyman who believes aliens are trying to contact Earth through his kitchen appliances and dairy products. There are UFOs shaped like pies, characters with names like Roy Dreary, and a climax that's equal part absurd and just delicious. The film's handmade charm is undeniable. Sets look like high school art projects. Effects are all practical and just proudly ridiculous. And the dialogue is intentionally delivered like everyone's had just one too many sleeping pills. It's a forgotten gem of VHS-era parody that proves you don't need a lot of money to make something wildly entertaining. You just need a few pie tins, a love of Spielberg, and like zero shame. So Flicks isn't just a parody. It's a full-blown fake broadcast on a Saturday night movie marathon. This anthology spoof stitches together a series of phony trailers and clips from fake B movies with absurd names like... It's like if Kentucky Fried Movie was raised on old cable access horror and microwave popcorn. The best part, it roasts multiple genres in just a single go. Drive-in monster movies? Check. Film noir? Check. TV commercials? And even natural documentaries? Check. It's like they emptied the writer's room onto the editing table and just didn't bother sweeping up afterwards. I mean, sure, the pacing's all over the place, and some jokes are more groan than grin, but Flicks captures the chaotic energy of late-night channel surfing when you're just too wired to sleep and too broke to rent a real movie.
Does that feel better?
It's starting to.
So what's this movie about, man?
Oh, it's about all kinds of things, man. It's like a bunch of crazy movies, man, they put together. It's like The Incredible Shrinking Man versus the 50-Foot Woman, and then try to get it on.
Before YouTube commentary videos, there was It Came from Hollywood, a stitched-together celebration of terrible movies introduced by comedy royalty. You've got Aykroyd.
Movie's about brains. That's what it's about. Brains.
You Gilda Radner.
Get you right by the throat in this movie like that, and you can't get away.
John Candy and Cheech and Chong riffing on scenes from Z-grade cinema gold, like giant leeches, robot invasions, teenage werewolves, and atomic aliens with ping pong ball eyes. I mean, this isn't just parody. It's a clip show with jokes. You know, think Mystery Science Theater 3000 if it was hosted by Saturday Night Live original cast in between skips. The segments are themed with intros that lovingly lampoon the absurdity of old sci-fi, rock and roll panic flicks, and anti-drug propaganda films. It's educational, if your curriculum is about how to spot fishing line on a flying saucer, that is. It also introduces a whole generation of weirdos, yeah, but it's me, to the golden age of bad cinema. It's like a film that says, hey, we know these movies are terrible, but they're also awesome too.
With nuts!
Man, this one's so insane it deserves its own reality. Kung Pao takes a real 1976 Hong Kong martial art.
Brains.
If you've ever wanted a romantic comedy about a man falling in love with a disembodied brain, well, congratulations. For one, you're officially too weird for Tinder, and two, the man with two brains is your cinematic soulmate. So Steve Martin plays Dr. Michael Pharaohs, that's how it's spelled, a brilliant neurosurgeon with a dead wife, a terrible new wife who's Kathleen Turner in her femme fatale mode, and a lab full of talking brains. Naturally, he falls for one, which is voiced by Sissy Spacek in the most wholesome brain and jar performance of the century.
It seems that you have no body.
What happened to my body?
It's dead. Gone.
Carl Reiner directs this one with the energy of a Looney Tunes fever dream. So there's slapstick, deadpan science jokes, and an extended psychic conversation between a man and a brain that somehow manages to be both romantic and completely bonkers. Martin is in his rubber-faced, rapid-fire best in this movie, delivering jokes with the energy of someone who is just mainlined espresso and ran straight onto the set. The movie's Frankenstein's monster of noir parody, mad scientist, and rom-com gone rogue. and it just works so gloriously.
Tobacco and food stains to make your teeth look whiter, plus mouthwash for fresher breath. If you want to get closer, kissably closer, get Mouth Appeal, the toothpaste that gets you closer.
The groove tube is what happens when you take sketch comedy, you put it through a lava lamp, and then you filter it through 1970s libido. This is pre-Saturday Night Live parody. It's raw, it's weird, and deeply committed to freaking out anyone who wandered into a midnight screening by accident. The film presents itself as a series of fake television programs and commercials, and they're parodying the TV culture of the time. I mean, some of it's brilliant, like Brown 25, and some of it is just jaw-dropping offensive. And some is, well, I mean, we'll just leave you blinking at the screen wondering if you dreamed what you just saw. Chevy Chase shows up in his first film appearance.
My wife's incredible. She took care of the baby all day, cooked a great dinner, and even went to a school meeting.
And the whole thing plays like a psychedelic variety show hosted by a nudist commune. It's satirical, yeah, but it's also very 70s, which means lots of skin, lots of weird music, and a healthy disregard for boundaries. Still, the groove tube paved the way for Kentucky Fried Movie and its sketch parody offspring. And for that, we salute it with one raised eyebrow and a deeply uncomfortable chuckle.
Looking over a four-leaf clover that I overlooked before.
For the first time in history, we may hear what a being from another world is trying to communicate to us. My God. Switch on the translating circuits.
I want to eat your face. It could just be so yummy.
So before Airplane turned Leslie Nielsen to the king of deadpan comedy, Naked Space asked the question, what if Alien, but stupid? The answer? Just glorious nonsense. This film is also known as Spaceship because it can't even decide on its own title. The plot follows a crew of bumbling astronauts investigating a deadly alien life form that turns out to be a carnivorous pile of space goop. It oozes, it slimes, it eats, but not before everyone gets in on at least 3 groan-worthy one-liners. Nielsen is the glue here. Cool as a cucumber, even when he's talking to a robot with a rotary phone for a head. And the special effects are just pure community theater. The costumes look like recycled car upholstery, and the humor, so think Red Dwarf meets Three's Company, if both were written on Ambien. It's not always laugh out loud funny, but it's deeply committed to the bit. And sometimes that's really all you need. Plus, any movie that features an extended conversation about bathroom procedures in zero gravity, it deserves some cult respect.
I want to eat your smile. Your smile is so beguiling.
Were exposed to radiation simultaneously, the result would be terrible indeed. For the result would be Mant.
Matinee is less a straight parody and more a heartfelt tribute to the golden age of schlock cinema. Joe Dante, of Gremlins fame, delivers a love letter to William Castle-style showmanship and Cold War paranoia, wrapped in a coming-of-age story that's as sweet as it is weird. John Goodman plays Woolsey, a cigar-chomping film promoter who rolls into Key West during the Cuban Missile Crisis with a gimmick-laden monster movie called Mant. Yes, half man, half ant. While the world teeters on nuclear war, Woolsey just trying to scare the pants off teenagers with smoke machines and vibrating theater seats.
Feel that.
Giving it to the people right where they need it the most.
The parody here, it's spot on. Mant is a perfect recreation of 1950s creature features. It's just lovingly cheesy. And the behind-the-scenes look at how these films are made, marketed, and adored makes it just a must-watch for any B-movie buff. I mean, it's not just funny. It's a nostalgia trip in a cinematic warm blanket with ants.
Mr. Reardon?
That's right.
My name?
In all my years in the business, I'd never seen anything like her.
This is a noir parody turned into fine art. Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, it isn't just a spoof. It's a seamless blend of satire and homage that stitches Steve Martin into classic film noir scenes with just shocking precision. I mean, seriously, he shares screen time with Bogart, Bergman, and Veronica Lake decades after they were dead. Martin plays a hard-boiled detective, Rigby Reardon, who gets tangled in a plot involving the Friends of Carlotta, Killer Cheese, and some secret Nazis. Along the way, he interacts through, clever editing and voice doubles with characters from actual vintage noirs. And the kicker, it works. I mean, this isn't just parody, like I said. It's a full-on time travel. So Carl Reiner, who also appears as a Nazi butler, I mean, don't ask, just go with it, directs with laser-focused silliness. The black and white cinematography, it's pitch perfect. And the score swells with melodrama, and the dialogue swings between tough guy cliche and just total absurdity.
Thanks, Dan.
This is not a very nice way to treat a friend of Mr. Alfell's daughter.
There's only one way to treat you.
Steve Martin, he's magnetic. Equal parts Humphrey Bogart and Bugs Bunny. He never winks, and that's what makes the madness work. You'll come for the editing wizardry, but stay for the coffee gag that somehow runs the entire film. This isn't just the best entry on our list. It's one of the most ambitious parody films ever made. I mean, it doesn't just spoof noir. It actually becomes one, while lovingly unmaking it from the inside out.
Although so far there's no known treatment for death's crippling effects, still everyone can acquaint himself with the 3 early warning signs of death. 1, rigor mortis. 2, a rotting smell. 3, occasional drowsiness.
What was that, Henry?
A policeman!
Let's start off with one of the best titles in the group, Please Don't Eat My Mother from 1973. And this absurd take on Roger Corman's Little Shop of Horrors follows Henry, a lonely peeping Tom who purchases a small talking plant that develops a taste for human flesh, starting with insects and small animals before graduating to demanding human victims. As Henry lures women to his apartment to feed his increasingly demanding plant, he finds himself torn between his new companion's appetites and his own conscience. It's just like Little Shop of Horrors, but with more voyeurism and exploitation elements. What makes Please Don't Eat My Mother so fascinatingly weird is how it straddles multiple exploitation genres while parodying them simultaneously. Director Carl Monson takes the basic premise of a man-eating plant and grafts it onto sexploitation framework, creating something that's simultaneously a monster movie spoof, a dark comedy, and an excuse for numerous scenes of women disrobing before meeting their planty demise. The special effects are delightfully low budget, with the carnivorous plant looking like something hastily assembled from the craft store materials the night before shooting. Henry's performance somehow makes this absolute weirdo of a protagonist strangely sympathetic, even as he's essentially serving as a serial killer's accomplice. The film's bizarre tone, veering from genuine creepiness to broad comedy to softcore adult film, sometimes all at once, creates an unpredictable viewing experience that keeps audiences completely off balance. While, certainly not for all tastes, Please Don't Eat My Mother represents a uniquely 1970s approach to parody filmmaking, where the line between spoofing exploitation tropes and simply employing them was just delightfully and confusingly blurry.
We also neglected to tell them that we were making a gratuitous women in prison picture. So, if you see anything in this picture that looks a little, well, odd, I have just a thing. Drink Jolt, the new official sponsor of Prison A Go-Go.
All right, let's talk about Prison A Go-Go from 2003. And this is an absolutely bonkers women in prison parody that throws just about every exploitation trope into a blender and hits puree. The plot, such as it is, follows a young woman to a remote jungle prison run by a mad scientist and his henchwoman, where she encounters zombie attacks, kung fu fights, dance sequences, and cellmates straight out of Central Exploitation casting. It's like someone gave a 13-year-old boy a camera and told him, just go make some of the most inappropriate film possible. And he did it. What makes Prison A Go-Go such a wild ride is its gleeful disregard for coherence in favor of cramming as many references and just absurd gags into its runtime as humanly possible. Director Barack Epstein creates something that it doesn't just parody exploitation cinema, it parodies the very concept of narrative itself. The film frequently breaks the fourth wall, with characters acknowledging that they're in a movie, then commenting on plot holes and continuality errors. Mary Warnoff, royalty of exploitation cinema, from her work with Roger Corman and Andy Warhol, appears as the prison warden, bringing legitimate cult movie credentials to proceedings that otherwise have no legitimacy whatsoever. The deliberate cheap production values, from like obvious wigs to sets that are just clearly empty warehouses with minimal dressing, perfectly capture the aesthetic of films being parodied, with adding another layer of meta-comedy about low-budget filmmaking itself. Prison A Go-Go understands that the best parodies don't just mock their targets, but transform them into something new and strange, creating a viewing experience that's like watching 14 different exploitation films simultaneously.
The popcorn you're eating has been pissed in. Film at 11.
Rower.
Oh, hello, Pammy. I didn't see you come in. How come you're not out hiking with the others?
I don't have answers, Paul.
This movie gets a ton of requests in the comments. The Lost Skeleton of Cadabra from 2001, which is, it's a pitch-perfect parody of 1950s sci-fi horror films, which, follows a scientist studying a radioactive element in a remote cabin where he encounters aliens from the planet Marva, and a woman who transforms into, I guess, a wildcat, and of course, the lost skeleton itself, which seeks to return to life through the powers of atmospherium. And this was shot in black and white with deliberately stiff acting.
I certainly hope someone needs a forest ranger here sometime.
And obvious props. And the dialogue that's it's simultaneously wooden and overwrought.
Do you think you could tell me the way to Cadavra Cave?
And it's really a loving recreation of films that were just so bad they accidentally created their own aesthetic. It's just like if Plan 9 from Outer Space was made deliberately badly by people who actually knew what they were doing. So, what elevates The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra above just a simple mockery? It's the writer-director Larry Blumere's deep understanding of what makes vintage B-movies so endearing. Rather than just replicating the technical flaws of low-budget 50s filmmaking, he does do that beautifully, by the way. Blumere captures the earnest sincerity that makes these films charming despite the limitations. The dialogue, it's a magnificent mix of different styles of sci-fi cliches and just redundant exposition.
Different, this Earth as it is called.
But then, are we of the planet Marva, as we call our planet, not also strange and different to this planet and its people also?
And
you don't believe those old legends about the lost skeleton of Cadaver, do you?
Ranger Brad, I'm a scientist. I don't believe in anything.
Are just delivered with straight-faced conviction that it makes them even funnier. The special effects are deliberately terrible, from the alien mutant to the skeleton itself, which, it's visibly controlled by obvious wires. The film was shot on digital, but was processed to look like 16mm film, complete with scratches and inconsistent lighting. What would have been a one-joke premise sustains its humor throughout because Blemire and his cast maintain perfect commitment to the bit, never winking at the audience or breaking character. The Lost Skeleton of Cadaver succeeds because it recognizes the best parodies come not from the contempt for the source material, but from the understanding precisely why people still watch genuinely bad movies with such affection decades later. All right, we're going to look at The Lobster Man from Mars in 1989 next, which is a clever film within a film that follows a desperate filmmaker screening his low-budget sci-fi movie, Lobster Man from Mars, for a studio executive as a last-ditch effort to save his career. The framing device features Tony Curtis as the studio head, complete with a Martian invader that looks like a man in a lobster suit, because it is, in fact, a man in a lobster suit. What makes Lobster Man from Mars so delightful, it's how it operates on multiple levels of parody simultaneously. The framing story mocks Hollywood's cynical business practices, while the film within the film just lovingly creates every technical limitation and narrative absurdity of the 50s sci-fi era. Director Stanley Sheff perfectly captures the earnest incompetence of B-movie filmmaking, from the obvious model spaceships on strings to the stiff acting delivered with complete conviction. The lobster monster itself, it's a masterpiece of just a deliberately bad costume design. It's got its visible zippers and claws that can just barely grab anything, much less menace humanity. The film never punches down at its source material, though. Instead, it's like celebrating the strange magic that happens when ambition vastly exceeds budget and technical capability. It's a parody made with genuine affection for its targets. It understands that sometimes the most entertaining films, they're not the ones that achieve their lofty goals, but the ones that fail spectacularly while trying.
Of Space Drones 4Q2 and Artie Deco.
Artie Deco, where are you? At last. Where have you been?
Oh boy, let's talk about Hardware Wars from 1978. This legendary 13-minute short film, it was one of the first and most successful Star Wars parodies. It was just created like months after the original film took over the galaxy. And instead of the Millennium Falcon, we get a flying toaster. And instead of lightsabers, we get some flashlights. And also, instead of Princess Leia, we get Princess Android. You know what makes Hardware Wars a milestone in parody filmmaking? It's how director Ernie Fosselis achieved so much with so little. This was made for like $8,000. Compared to Star Wars' $11 million budget, which sounds like chump change by today's standards, but that was astronomical back in the 70s. The film used household appliances, obvious puppets, and deliberately terrible special effects to spoof the most visually groundbreaking film of its era. George Lucas himself declared it his favorite Star Wars parody, showing that sometimes the sincerest form of flattery isn't imitation, it's turning your groundbreaking space opera into a kitchen appliance battle with deliberately visible strings.
I'm not wearing any pants. Film at 11.
As I look down at you, lying there motionless, I can only think of one thing. Our wedding night.
All right, next up is Amazon Women on the Moon. And this is an anthology comedy from director John Landis, Joe Dante, and a few others that present basically a chaotic night of bad television where a broadcast of the B movie, Amazon Women on the Moon, just keeps getting interrupted by commercials, news segments, and other programs, and each one just more absurd than the last.
Hi, I'm Cy Swerdlow, and I invented the patented process known as hair looming.
You know, from like a funeral that turns into a celebrity roast.
I'm sorry. I better wrap it up now, folks, because you know the old axiom in show business, get off quick. Like Harvey on his wedding night.
Two shopping channels selling products for the deceased. It's basically just like rapid fire collection of sketches, lampooning television itself, just like Kentucky Fried Movie, if you remember that one from the 70s. You know, essentially, it's like if you gave a bunch of comic directors cocaine and control of a TV station for like 24 hours. You know what makes Amazon Women on the Moon so effective? It's the perfect recreation of late night television's strange ecosystem. The fake B movie just brilliantly captures the earnest incompetence of 1950s sci-fi with
"This throne is still warm."
You know, astronauts discovering a civilization of beautiful women on the moon who just somehow speak perfect English and wear impractically sexy outfits in space. But the film's real genius lies in, you know, the filler material, the commercials and public service announcements and program snippets that collectively parody not just specific shows, but the entire television experience. The roster of comedic talent, it's super impressive. I mean, featuring like Carrie Fisher, Steve Guttenberg, B.B. King, each throwing themselves into the absurdity with complete commitment. In our current era of streaming and binge watching, Amazon Women on the Moon feels strangely prophetic in its portrayal of fractured media consumption, just with more moon women and far fewer subscription fees.
Just stand by the door. I don't understand. It's a deserted chapel and somebody's holding the door. That's good.
I think I watched this movie about 100 times when I was in middle school. So Transylvania 65000, back from 1985, it's a horror comedy that follows two tabloid reporters, the infamous Jeff Goldblum and Ed Begley Jr., and they're sent to Transylvania to investigate rumors of a Frankenstein monster sighting. Upon arrival, they encounter an assortment of just classic monster movie characters, including, you know, a nymphomaniac vampire.
Who's that? Who is it? Who's here? Who is it? Jack!
What? What's the matter? What happened?
A disjointed butler and a mad scientist assistant with a vocal impediment.
Wait. Your favorite dish yesterday. Believe me.
All while trying to uncover whether the monsters are real or part of some elaborate hoax. It's just like an Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein, you know, remake, but in the 80s with more sexual innuendo and a lot more Jeff Goldblum. You know what makes Transylvania 65000 such a delightful oddity? And it's the cast of all these comedy ringers giving their material that just ranges from clever to pure cringeworthy. Jeff Goldblum deploys his signature like nervous energy to the greatest effect, while Michael Richards, you know, years before Seinfeld fame, delivers physical comedy that's both bizarre and just brilliantly executed. While not as quotable or sharply written as the best horror parodies, Transylvania 65000 maintains a cheerful goofiness it's just hard to resist.
Rams plagued by fumbles as earthquakes rock Los Angeles. Film at 11.
Cause of death looks like OG.
Over gold, yeah? Jesus Christ.
All right, at number 3, we've got I'm Gonna Get You Sucker from 1988. And this is a Keenan Ivory Wayne's brilliant blaxploitation parody that follows Jack Spade, who's returning to his old neighborhood
Ma! Jack! Ma! Oh, Lord, my baby's home at last!
after his brother dies from an overdose of gold chains. Only discover it's overrun by criminals led by the nefarious Mr. Big. So he's going to recruit a team of over-the-hill former black action heroes like Hammer and Slammer, and then there's Fly Guy, who unfortunately suffers a wardrobe malfunction when his platform shoes explode. And then Jack sets out to clean up the streets and avenge his brother. You know what makes this movie work so well? It's the just obvious affection that they have for the film that they're parodying. You know, coupled with, you know, just the willingness to exaggerate the tropes to just absurd extremes. You know, the film nails like every blaxploitation element. You know, it's got the funky soundtrack, community-minded messages beneath the action, so many flamboyant fashions, and some cartoonishly evil white villains. You know, this film, it walks a delicate line. I mean, both celebrating the cultural significance of blaxploitation while acknowledging its excess and limitations. You know, I'm Gonna Get Your Sucker would later serve as a template for the Wayans', you know, approach to parody, you know, in films like Scary Movie. But this original remains their most focused and effective genre spoof. It's made with both reverence and irreverence for an important chapter in cinema history.
Oh my God! They shot me in my bunion, man.
Prepare yourself for this island Earth.
So we got movie
All right, let us bow down to Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie made back in '96. I mean, this show is why Retro Vault even exists. Anyways, so this is their big screen adaptation of the absolute amazing cult TV show. We got your human test subject Mike and his robot companions, Tom Servo and Crow. And basically we're forced to watch a 1955 sci-fi film, The Island Earth, while floating in space on a satellite of love. If by some absurd reason you're not familiar with the show, their only defense against cinematic torture is just a constant stream of wisecracks, pop cultural references,
Washington Land, the new Disney theme park,
and observations about the film's numerous plot holes and special effects limitations. You know, what makes Mystery Science Theater 3000 the movie special, it's how it elevates the already brilliant concept of the TV show with just a more polished production, while maintaining the handmade charm that made fans fall in love with the series. So the film's target movie, The Island Earth, it's actually a better movie than what they normally, you know, riff.
Ah, the script has finally arrived. Ooh.
So creating a different comedic dynamic as Mike and the bots acknowledge its occasional merits while still gleefully tearing apart its dated elements. The segments featuring the mad scientist, Dr. Clayton Forrester, it just adds another layer of parody, which is mocking the mad scientist tropes that have been a staple of science fiction for decades.
Captain's log. I've lost my toupee and girdle and I can't leave my room.
You know, I hope they land right on Kenny Loggins.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Come in. I'm in the den.
Guess who?
All right, number one, the Kentucky Fried Movie. I love this movie. And it's so wrong. I mean, I probably started watching this when I was like 6 or 7 years old, but this is how I got exposed to exploitation films and comedy, right? So this is from the comedy team that would later bring us Airplane, you know, and The Naked Gun. And this is basically, it's a sketch comedy that it's a total mess.
Show me your nuts. Oh, how you doing? Surfing USA.
And it just ruthlessly mocks movie trailers, education films, and exploitation cinema as a whole. The film's centerpiece is this movie within a movie called A Fistful of Yen, which is a 20-minute Bruce Lee movie parody.
What was that? This is not a charade. We need total concentration. Now, once again, this time, with feeling.
And it just manages to simultaneously mock martial art films, James Bond, and Enter the Dragon with just gleeful abandon. It's like a YouTube sketch comedy that existed in the 70s, but had an actual budget and wasn't interrupted by ads from mobile games. The Kentucky Fried Movie represents sketch comedy cinema at its most unfiltered. You know, unlike many parody films that focus on a single genre or a franchise, the Kentucky Fried Movie takes aim at the entire media landscape of the 1970s. It's got blaxploitation, disaster movies, newscasts to sexual education films. The Kentucky Fried Movie stands as the ultimate example of how a parody can be both ruthlessly funny and surprisingly influential, making it the undisputed champion of our countdown.
It's cool, refreshing, and far less filling.
Hurry, Rama.
You're only reincarnated 6 or 7 times in life, so you've got to reach for all the gusto you can.
But the English language had deteriorated into a hybrid of hillbilly, valley girl, inner city slang, and various grunts. Joe was able to understand them, but when he spoke in an ordinary voice, he sounded pompous and faggy to them.
Never been on a scavenger hunt before! This is splendid! Beep, beep!
Scavenger hunt is what happens when you lock a bunch of eccentric heirs in a race for a fortune and replace logic with Looney Tunes energy. The plot kicks off when a board game tycoon, he dies and leaves his estate to whoever wins a citywide scavenger hunt. The cast is a who's who of comedic chaos of the time. You have Tony Randall, Cloris Leachman.
I loved him like a brother.
He was your brother.
Richard Benjamin.
Let me tell you your fortune. You don't get any fortune.
And Richard Mulligan. And they give it their all in a film that feels like a Saturday morning cartoon with an adult cast. Oh, by the way, there's even a pre-Terminator Arnold Schwarzenegger playing as Lars, and he's a bodybuilder who treats tug-of-war like a spiritual calling. The whole thing's just pure ensemble slapstick, stuffed with pratfalls, mix-ups, and increasingly unhinged sight gags.
There's some bad roads around here.
You know, critics didn't love it, because of course they didn't. But if you've got a soft spot for over-the-top antics and films that move like they've had too much pixie sticks, it's a total blast. And hey, it just proves that one important lesson. If you're going to inherit millions, you better start training with egg salad sandwiches and marching bands now.
It was working just a second ago. I'm sorry, but it's not working now. But it was working just a second ago. Well, Einstein, look at me. A second ago, I wasn't standing here talking to a moron.
Caveman gives us Ringo Starr, post-Beatlemania, as a took. He's an underdog caveman who fights for love, invents language, and battles foam rubber dinosaurs. This is told almost entirely in grunts, squeals, and physical comedy, which coincidentally, that's also the story of how I met my wife. Anyways, this film plays like a prehistoric silent movie reboot with farts instead of title cards. Caveman pokes fun of films like 1 million years BC by showing what would really happen if cave people fought dinosaurs while trying to stand upright. Spoiler alert, it's a lot of falling down. The stop-motion dinosaurs are Harryhausen ripoffs, but they're charmingly janky. especially when a giant lizard swats a caveman like a fly. The cast includes Dennis Quaid, Shelley Long, and Barbara Bach, who met Ringo on set and married him. So in a way, I mean, the movie helped invent rock royalty romance. Caveman never takes itself seriously. I mean, not even for like a second. And that's what makes it work. It's a parody built entirely on commitment to the bit, from fake eyebrows to the made-up grunting language. Call it dumb fun because it is, but that's actually the point.
Joe.
I am Count... Dracula.
Are you hurt?
I am perfectly fine. It would take much more than that to hurt me.
Dracula, Dead and Lovin' It, was Mel Brooks' final directorial outing, and while it doesn't reach the heights of like Young Frankenstein or Blazing Saddles, it does deliver plenty of fang-biting fun. Leslie Nielsen plays the Count as an obvious old creep with excellent posture and just absolute zero chill. The film isn't just a parody. It's a direct send-up of classic Dracula adaptations, especially like the 1931 Bela Lugosi version. Brooks leans hard into like fog machines, gothic candelabras, and old-school vampire theatrics. The jokes, I mean, they range from wonderfully dumb to just pure vaudeville.
I was having a daymare.
While, you know, it didn't win over critics or the theaters, it did find a home on VHS and late-night cable, where its goofy charm aged into cult status. It's a swan song filled with bat puns, blood gags, and the occasional impalement. I mean, what's not to love? It's not Brooks' best, but it's definitely one for the parody faithful.
You look poorly, Master. You're all dried out. Here, you should have fluids.
Yes, I agree. I think I will start with the first meat.
I see. Come up immediately. Sir Charles.
Sir Charles?
The Phantom. I've really got him this time. Oh,
The Pink Panther gave us the wonderful Inspector Clouseau. He's the world's worst detective with the world's best timing. Peter Sellers took a supporting role and then turned it into a one-man slapstick revolution, delivering a performance that redefined comedic incompetence as an art form.
we must find that woman.
Blake Edwards crafts a diamond heist plot so thin you could slice cheese with it. But it hardly matters. The film isn't about solving the case. It's about watching Clouseau try to get through a sentence without injuring himself or someone else. Sellers' physical comedy, it's so next level. And every stumble, every crash, and mangled accent, it's just delivered with a straight face and a raised eyebrow.
So my wife is very frugal. She saves out of the housekeeping money.
Even the animated Pink Panther in the credits became a cartoon franchise all on its own. As a parody, it's subtle. It doesn't scream spoof, it whispers it, while accidentally knocking over a bookshelf. Clouseau walked so every bumbling parody character could fall flat on their face.
Answer the door. Timon.
Yes, dear? But Jack, I thought you were on your way to...
That phone call was a ruse.
Do some of you people want to come over and push this thing out of the way? Come on. I'll put it in neutral. Who did that? Make it stop!
The Cannonball Run is a cinematic equivalent of a Sugar Rush on four wheels. It spoofs cross-country race movies, buddy comedies, and just really whatever the hell the 80s was doing with cars in general. Burt Reynolds leads an all-star cast in a movie that feels like someone filmed The Rap Party and just added some car chases. We've got Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. as priests, Jackie Chan as a martial artist driving a supercar. We even have Roger Moore spoofing James Bond. And don't forget Farrah Fawcett. She's trapped in what feels like an elaborate improv sketch. I mean, there's no real plot. It's just increasingly absurd roadblocks, a lot of crashes, interesting costumes, and a whole bunch of bad decisions.
Oh, are you kidding? That is the dumbest thing I've seen since that dimwit tried to jump the Grand Canyon.
This was directed by legendary stuntman Hal Needham, and the movie's real star, it's the action. You have real stunts, real wrecks, even real helicopters skimming over freeways. Cannonball doesn't try to be clever. I mean, it's dumb on purpose, loud by design, and just totally proud of it. And somehow, all that chaos, it became a box office hit.
6 years is going to seem like a summer vacation when the state of Missouri gets through with you. And you, Shorty, where'd you get all that jewelry?
Why do you call me Shorty? Because you're small. Small.
Hey, they say you can kill over 200 men and play a mean six-string at the same time. Is that really true?
Six String Samurai takes place in an alternate 1950s America where the Russians had nuked us, Elvis ruled as king, and rock and roll survived the apocalypse.
Why don't they just shoot him?
Do you know, Parody, we haven't had bullets since '57.
It's a samurai, spaghetti, western, kung fu musical about a guitar-wielding wanderer named Buddy who's trying to get to Las Vegas to claim the throne. This is what happens when Parody licks a psychedelic toad. It's a send-up of Mad Max, The Wizard of Oz, and just basically every kung fu and rock movie like ever made. Buddy's dressed like Buddy Holly with a samurai sword, and he's slashing through punk rock mutants and avoiding a villain that looks like GNR Slash cosplaying the Grim Reaper. The cinematography, it's gritty and stylish, and the soundtrack by the Red Elvises, it's an absolute banger. And the whole thing moves like a high school notebook doodle that just came to life. It didn't get wide release, but it's since become a cult phenom. It's weird, wild, and weirdly moving. And if you like your parodies loud, stylish, and just this side of totally unhinged, this is just so much your jam.
You don't want to be like me, kid. Go home, start a family, get a picket fence, and get a real guitar.
Wake up, Master. Master, there's someone at the door. They want to see you. I think they're from the government.
How do you know?
They're wearing shoes.
Love at first bite is what happens when you drop Dracula into Studio 54 and just let the polyester do the talking. George Hamilton stars as the world's suavest vampire, and he was evicted from his Transylvania castle by communists and then relocated to New York City. Yeah, no really. It's a vampire rom-com disco satire with bronzer, bell-bottoms, and some biting commentary on modern romance, and every pun was intended.
I beat your mother and your grandmother.
The movie parodies both classic Dracula lore and 1970s urban life, sending the Count on a mission to seduce his reincarnated bride while navigating some muggings, therapy, and blood banks.
Plastic disposable bodies. It's like a supermarket.
Hamilton's comedic timing, it's actually surprisingly sharp, and Artie Johnson steals like every scene as the insect-munching Renfield. The jokes are broad, sure, right? But they work, especially if you enjoy watching gothic horror tropes slow dance with pop culture.
I told you, I have got a man in here.
It was a surprise box office hit, and one of the few vampire parodies to actually have some heart, and a killer wardrobe. Plus, there's this disco-fied version of I Love the Nightlife, and once you've seen Dracula Boogie, I mean, you can't unsee it. And honestly, who would want to?
There is a
vampire loose in the city. Lock up your wives, your sisters, your daughters, and your sweetheart.
No. This is Edward Calvin reporting. He's already got my girl.
I'm the smartest guy in the world? Says who?
The IQ test you took in prison. You got the highest score in history. Brought to you by Carl's Jr.
Yeah, dumbass. You've been smarter than President Camacho. That's how come he's making you Secretary of Interior.
Idiocracy isn't just a satire. It's a slow-motion roast of civilization. Mike Judge imagined a future where anti-intellectualism, it wins, and everything is corporate-sponsored, and your favorite drink, it's used to water the crops.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
Luke Wilson plays an average guy who wakes up 500 years later and is somehow the smartest person alive. Yikes. It's a pitch-black parody of American consumer culture, political apathy, and declining attention spans.
You're in the wrong line, dumbass.
President Camacho, played by Terry Crews, this might be the best performance by a wrestler in cinematic history. And yeah, that includes Hulk Hogan in Suburban Commando. The film's humor lands with just painful precision. You know, like branding, bureaucracy, and flat-out stupidity. They're just skewed with deadly accuracy.
I really love your show. Thank you so much.
Somehow this flopped on release thanks to, a quiet studio dump, but has gained cult status when people realized, oh no, the movie is right. Today this plays less like a comedy and more like a documentary that's filmed 5 years in our future. It's hilarious, terrifying, and easily one of the sharpest satirical films ever made.
So act smart.
Smart like you?
Oh, I gotta go to the time machine. I wanna go home.
I don't talk like that.
I don't talk like that.
Shit, I thought there was two of you.
How does an ancient Egyptian wind up in an East Texas rest home, and why is he writing on the shed house walls, man?
Well, he went in to take a crap, got bored, started writing on the walls.
Bubba Hotep is one of those movies that makes you say, wait, what? Bruce Campbell plays an elderly Elvis who actually never died. He just swapped identities with an impersonator and retired to a nursing home. And now, with the help of a fellow patient who claims to be JFK, played by Ossie Davis, he must battle a soul-sucking Egyptian mummy that's targeting the elderly.
What we have here at Shady Rest is an Egyptian soul sucker of some sort.
It's horror, comedy, and philosophical reflection all in one. And somehow, it just totally works.
Everything you do is either worthless or sadly amusing.
The film parodies mummy movies, biopics, and celebrity obsession, while also a meditation on aging, regret, and legacy. Campbell is absolutely phenomenal in the movie, playing Elvis with a swagger and sorrow.
It was nice to meet you, Mr. Presley.
Get the hell out.
The film is low budget, but the director milks every penny for maximum weirdness. This is a cult gem because it never winks at the camera. It plays the absurd premise completely straight, and that sincerity makes it unforgettable. Also, the mummy writes hieroglyphic graffiti in bathroom stalls. You're welcome.
President Kennedy was a white man.
That's how clever they are. They dyed me this color, all over. Can you think of a better way to hide the truth than that?
He's got new injuries. Well, he's certainly dead now. Why would anyone want to kill him twice?
Seems so unnecessary.
Well, that's what we call overkill. What we call psychotic.
Unless he wasn't dead before.
What's the difference? That's what we're trying to find out.
Clue is the rare board game movie that feels like it was written during a caffeine-fueled game night and filmed in the middle of a theatrical farce. The setup is classic. A murder in a mansion, 6 colorful suspects, and more red herrings than a seafood buffet. But the execution, it's friggin' phenomenal.
Everything all right?
Yep, 2 corpses, everything's fine.
The movie parodies drawing room mysteries, Agatha Christie tropes, and melodramatic sleuthing with rapid-fire wit and physical comedy that rivals vintage slapstick. Tim Curry's Wadsworth is just a masterclass in escalating chaos.
I'm shouting! I'm shouting! I'm shouting!
And the ensemble, yeah, Madeline Kahn, Christopher Lloyd, Michael McKean, I mean, they nail like every punchline like it owes them rent.
Being killed is pretty final, wouldn't you say?
What makes Clue legendary is the 3-ending gimmick. Audiences got different versions depending on which theater they visited. In the VHS, it included all 3 because 80s home video, it knew how to treat us. Every line is quotable. Every death scene was delightful. And Madeline Kahn's "flames on the side of my face" monologue, that was comedy history.
But this is ridiculous. If he was such a patriotic American, why didn't he just report us to the authorities?
He decided to put his information to good use and make a little money out of it. What could be more American than that?
Ventura, make any good collars lately, or were they leashes? Uh-oh. Homicide, Ventura.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, is Jim Carrey unchained. It's not a parody of like one specific thing. It's a genre-smashing explosion of slapstick, animal antics just roll into one man's facial expressions. So Ace, he's a pet PI, which is apparently a full-time job in this universe.
We'll let you know if the coroner finds a tick.
And he's hired to find the kidnapped Miami Dolphins mascot. Naturally, Carrey turns what could have been a one-note character into a living cartoon.
Excuse me, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
This film spoofs detective tropes, buddy cop setups, and macho action heroes, while layering in ridiculous disguises, animal sidekicks, and more catchphrases in a toy commercial. Alrighty Then became a cultural virus.
Alrighty then.
It's loud, it's crude, and it's very 90s.
And you don't know how to express your anger.
Yeah, and you're ugly.
But it also redefined what physical comedy looked like post-Keaton and launched Carrey into superstardom. Is it subtle? No, not really. Is it funny? Hell yes. Just don't rewatch it expecting social sensitivity. This movie is a time capsule sealed with hair gel and dolphin whistles.
He's the one you want. Kill him. No, kill him. No, kill him. Kill him. He held the ball, remember? Come on, look at the crybaby, jock, wimp, musclehead. Shut up!
You thought you was gonna get me to show you where Hollywood was, didn't you? Tried to sneak up on me like you did Pearl Harbor. Bet you're gonna bomb John Wayne's house, ain't you?
John Wayne?
I knew it.
1941 is Steven Spielberg's loud, chaotic, and over-caffeinated war parody that feels like a 3-ring circus with a budget. It takes place in Los Angeles just days after Pearl Harbor, when paranoia and military madness erupt in full screwball glory.
Oh my God, it's a P-40 Tomahawk. It's one of ours.
If Dr. Strangelove and Blazing Saddles had a loud, poorly behaved baby, it'd be this movie. The cast is an embarrassment of comedy riches. You've got John Belushi in his just most unhinged performance, Dan Aykroyd, Slim Pickens. I mean, everyone is either shouting, shooting, or falling through a roof.
I will not have guns in this house.
The movie sends up war propaganda films, 1940s nostalgia, and Spielberg's own blockbuster style. It's a meta parody that spoofs his own Jaws opener in the first 5 minutes. Unfortunately, it didn't land with critics at the time. It was called bloated, noisy, and excessive. And to be fair, yeah, I mean, that was actually true.
Madness. It's the only word to describe it.
But in the years since, it's become a cult favorite precisely because it's so gloriously over the top. It's the comedy equivalent of throwing dynamite into a marching band and just filming the results.
I think he's gonna jump.
Made it.
right, you fat slag. Move your ass. How dare you speak to me like that?
I'm engaged to Larry Abbott, and he said he grew up here. Oh, you know, you know him. He says maybe I'm at the wrong house.
Let's kick this off with some gothic goofiness. Haunted Honeymoon is a love letter to the 1930s radio dramas and Universal monster movies. Filtered through Gene Wilder's high-volume hysteria and Dom DeLuise in full drag. And yeah, that combination is somehow even weirder than it sounds. The plot? Well, Wilder plays a radio actor who's about to get married, but his boss wants to cure him of his nerves by staging a murder mystery in a spooky mansion filled with nutty relatives and possibly a werewolf. It was also the swan song of sorts. This was Gene Wilder's final directorial effort, and sadly, Gilda Radner's last film before her passing. And unfortunately, the film bombed at the box office, pulling in less than their $9 million budget and earning more groans than applause. And yet, there's something oddly charming about its chaos. Dom DeLuise did win a Razzie for the worst supporting actress for his performance as Aunt Kate. But honestly, he totally earned that golden raspberry with pride.
You'd think this would frighten me. Well, it doesn't. Because I know that this is just a filthy figment of my diseased imagination.
You give me the runaround one more time, and I'm going to slap you around this office. I don't care what your name is anymore. Just make one up so I know what to call you.
Vivian Purcell.
That's better.
Carmen Montenegro. That's my last one, I promise.
Peter Falk channels Bogart with a twist of vaudeville in this noir spoof that mashes up the Maltese Falcon, Casablanca, and just like every trench coat cliche in the book. This was written by Neil Simon, and the chief detective is just wall-to-wall gags with a plot that just barely holds together. But who's here for the plot? Falk plays Lou. He's a gumshoe surrounded by double-crossing dames, slippery suspects, and so many rapid-fire jokes, you're going to need a fedora just to keep up. It's not subtle, and it's definitely not modern, but the sheer volume of setup and payoff moments gives it this golden age spoof feel. And the cast is totally stacked. Anne Margaret, Eileen Brennan, Madeline Kahn, and Dom DeLuise again. The guy's everywhere. The set drips with smoky atmosphere, while the punchlines fly faster than a Tommy gun on laundry day.
You crazy imbecile!
I want no part of this. I just want my share of the money so that I can get my hair done.
It's a forgotten gem in the parody pantheon. More clever than crude, and more wink than gut punch. For fans of Murder by Death, this is essential weird watching.
All right, punk, throw your bet on a gun.
Gun on the bed.
What?
Gun on the bed? You said throw your bed on the gun.
Big deal. That's only the first mistake I made on this case. That's not bad, considering how complicated it is.
You boys see anything strange around here?
No!
Better go on back to town where you be safe.
I want you to try and imagine Grease, Flash Gordon, and MTV got together and had a love child. Now feed that child some glitter, some bad dubbing, and a few space lasers. Well, that's Voyage of the Rock Aliens, a music parody that shouldn't exist, but it does. The story: aliens arrive on Earth searching for the source of rock and roll, only to land in a small town locked in a turf war between greaser punks and synth pop teens. Pia Zadora plays Dee Dee, a local girl with big dreams and even bigger hair, and Craig Sheffer struts around like a cartoon Fonzie. And the soundtrack, it does slap in the weirdest way. This movie doesn't just parody sci-fi and teen musicals. It demolishes them in a firework explosion of synth, spandex, and saxophone solos. There's a chainsaw duel, a brain-melting animated interlude, a robot who falls in love. It's one part parody, one part fever dream. Voyage of the Rock Aliens is less a film and more like a VHS hallucination. You won't understand what you watched, but you're gonna feel like dancing.
Oh, wow. Shh. Oh. Oh. Can't be.
This British horror spoof is what happens when you try and mix Amityville Horror, The Exorcist, and a Benny Hill sketch, all shaken in a haunted teapot. Starring comedian Kenny Everett and featuring Vincent Price phoning in every line with delightful menace.
Oh, you are the Prince of Darkness. And we are your... Oh, shit, my hand.
Bloodbath at the House of Death is equal parts parody and just pure chaos. The plot involves scientists investigating a mysterious house where a satanic massacre occurred, and somehow this leads to alien invaders, teleporting corpses, and one of the weirdest endings in parody history. I mean, the jokes, they're broad, and the acting, it's louder than necessary. And the special effects, they're just aggressively rubbery. This one's rough around the edges and has aged like warm beer. But if you're in the mood for slapstick Satanism and 1980s British absurdity, it's got its gory charm. I mean, it's a parody that doesn't know when to stop. So it doesn't.
Do you mind?
The minute there's not a teacher in the room, the entire school erupts into a shameless display of adolescent abandon. If it's discipline that you students need, I am the one who can provide it for you. Well, now.
This gem is equal parts teen rebellion fantasy and Ramones love letter. Rock and roll high school parodies those squeaky clean high school musicals with a punk rock Molotov cocktail. The plot is, it's bonkers. A rock-loving team named battles a fascist principal who bans rock music, culminating in a musical revolution. This isn't just a parody, it's a movement. This was produced by Roger Corman, and this cult gem skewers uptight authority, school bureaucracy, and the sanitized Disney version of adolescence. The Ramones aren't actors, but they're icons, and their presence gives the film a chaotic, sweaty authenticity. It's like the movie Footloose, if it was stoned, politically angry, and had a better soundtrack. And when the students blow up the school to the sound of punk rock, I mean, that's just pure parody poetry.
This next step can either make or break a successful day. A one-handed approach to strap unfastening is a basic skill that must be mastered. Now watch closely as I demonstrate. There's the hook.
Feelings, Arthur. It's just my bad luck. This sort of thing's always happening to me. Did I tell you Sandy's slapping a paternity suit on me?
Is that right?
Yeah. She reckons that kid she dropped is mine.
Before he gave us hobbits, Peter Jackson gave us horny, drug-addicted puppets. Meet the Feebles is a jaw-dropping Muppet parody that aims for the jugular, and then some. Think The Muppet Show meets Boogie Nights, but with more blood, sex, and emotional damage. The Feebles are a variety troupe trying to pull off a live show while hiding an avalanche of scandals, like infidelity, murder, STDs, war flashbacks, and some puppet vomit. It's as foul as it is fascinating, a satire so filthy, it practically requires gloves to watch. Jackson's early splatterpunk sensibility is on just full display, turning what should be cute felt animals into a parade of dysfunction. But beneath the shock lies sharp commentary on fame, addiction, and the dark underbelly of entertainment. It's not for the faint of heart, but if you ever watched The Muppets and thought, what if this was a psychological horror show? This one's for you.
State your name for the record.
Mother Goose.
Mother who?
Mother Goose.
Well, I'll be damned. You're a witness, Wilbur.
Okay, now we're getting into X-rated territory. Once Upon a Girl is part softcore, part fairy tale spoof, and 100% not safe for work. It's framed as a mockumentary in which Mother Goose, who's on trial for obscenity, recounts the real versions of classic fairy tales, complete with full frontal animation and some questionable morals. This isn't parody for the whole family. It's smutty satire from the seediest corners of 1970s animation. We've got Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, and Jack and the Beanstalk, and they all get the adult treatment. Let's just say no beans remain unpolished with this one. The animation, it's rough, and the humor is raunchy, and the voice acting sounds like it was recorded in a shag-carpeted van. But in terms of underground parody, this film is infamous. It's Fritz the Cat's weird cousin who showed up drunk on the wrong screening day. It's not high art, but it's hilariously lowbrow.
I wish you hadn't done that. That was so nice.
Nice? Nice, my tush. Do you know how many brain surgeons, nuclear physicists, and Nobel laureates have been surfers? I'll tell you, none. Look, trust me, honey, we're doing the world a favor.
The title of this movie is actually a lie. And there was no Surf 1. That's the first joke in a movie full of them. Surf 2 is a beach movie spoof where mad scientists use soda to mutate surfers into punk zombies. Yep, that's the plot. This film is part Beach Blanket Bingo and part Return of the Living Dead, and just all chaotic energy. It parodies every surf trope imaginable. You know, you got your dumb jocks, your evil nerds, your lecherous beachcombers, and some baffling montages. The tone veers between gross-out comedy and just absurdist satire, and the cast includes a pre-Gremlins Eddie Deason going full ham as the villain. Surf 2 is ugly, loud, and deeply committed to being the weirdest beach party ever filmed. It's so niche, it folds in on itself. But for fans of VHS-era oddities, this is an underground gem.
This party is for high school students only.
Jocko! Jocko, my sweet son! Mr. Daddy-O, do you not recognize your own students, perhaps? Jocko, we've been so worried about you, Dad and I. Jocko!
You're not a good guy at all.
I'm a lawyer, you idiots!
This is a cowboy spoof for people who like their westerns with a side of wink. Rustler's Rhapsody parodies 1950s singing cowboy movies, where the hero is always clean, moral, and somehow never gets dusty. Tom Berenger plays Rex, a flawless gunslinger who suddenly realizes he's in a movie, stuck in a world with recycled tropes, one-dimensional villains, and sidekicks who only exist to be rescued. It's kind of like Blazing Saddles if it was written by someone who worked at Blockbuster and just spent too much time reorganizing the Western section. The film takes shots at like everything: evil cattle barons, over-the-top saloon girls, and the mystic wisdom of native cliches. Andy Griffith plays the main villain with a grin that could slice butter, and the ending, let's just say it breaks like every rule and then tips its hat at the camera. It didn't make much noise at the box office, but for Western fans with a sense of humor, this one's a dusty jewel.
Rex always knew what they were going to do before they did it.
Good night, boys! See you tomorrow!
And in the second place...
Calm down, see? Look, Bruce Thorpe,
United States Secret Service. Okay?
And I suppose that's your gun, huh?
Oh, no, I wear a shoulder holster.
All right, so here's a premise so bizarre, it has to be true. A paranoid comedy about the behind-the-scenes chaos of casting the Wizard of Oz Munchkins. This is starring Chevy Chase and Carrie Fisher. Under the Rainbow blends World War II spy antics with Hollywood slapstick, all set in a hotel overrun by little people. The result? A strange stew of slapstick, satire, and politically incorrect mayhem that somehow feels like a Scooby-Doo episode written by conspiracy theorists. There's Nazis, a dog assassination plot, and plenty of pratfalls. Is it good? Not really. Is it unforgettable? Yeah, absolutely. It's the kind of movie that makes you question whether you dreamed it or even saw it.
If you don't give me the map, my fun will be cutting you into little pieces. One by one.
Hi, friends. Slick Lambert here for Death City, the one-stop funeral emporium for all your post-mortem needs. Yes, Death City, ladies and gentlemen, where you won't take our prices lying down. Help me out of here, will you, lovely Rita?
Sure thing, Slick.
Yes, folks, we're burying the competition.
Here we have a horror spoof in the spirit of Young Frankenstein, but made with the chaotic energy of the late 80s. Transylvania Twist throws Dracula, Lovecraft, and just every rubber bat in the prop room into the horror hijinks.
A rubber bat?
The plot? You have a librarian who teams up with a vampire hunter and a scream queen to stop a demon from being summoned via an ancient tomb. It's got cameos from Angus Scrim,
Now your time has come.
the tall man from, Phantasm, and jokes so corny they could be served at a state fair.
Holy water, don't leave home without it.
The effects are bargained in. The gags range from brilliant to baffling, but it does have heart and a love of horror that makes it work.
I don't care what anyone says. This hurts.
What about you, cats? What's your head trip?
We're private eyes, Rusty. Couple of big-time dicks.
You're sure a big dick, all right.
Thanks.
Radioactive Dreams is Mad Max by way of the Maltese Falcon, if it was produced during a particularly strong sugar high. This is set in a post-nuclear future, and it follows two wannabe gumshoes who were raised on 1940s detective novels as they try to survive a world of mohawked punks and mutated logic. The soundtrack, it's pure synth gold, and the visuals, they're equal parts Blade Runner and thrift store. It parodies film noir, action tropes, and dystopian cliches, all with breakdancing. Lots and lots of breakdancing. This was directed like a man who knows this might be his only chance to make something truly unhinged, and he doesn't waste a frame. It's chaotic, colorful, and criminally underseen. If John Waters directed Escape from New York, it might look something like this.
Think the world's changed much?
Changed?
You have come to our planet from another planet?
No, we come from our own planet, not another one.
That's what we mean.
Well, why didn't you say so then?
Yes, why didn't you say so?
Morons from Outer Space is exactly what the title promises, and that's the joke. These aren't enlightened visitors from the stars. They're idiots. And when they crash land on Earth, humanity instantly assumes there are cosmic saviors. The satire here is super sharp, about media hype, celebrity worship, and how we love propping up nonsense if it comes in a shiny package. Mel Smith stars as one of the bumbling aliens, and the movie moves at a brisk, beer-guzzling pace. Directed by Mike Hodges, the guy who did Flash Gordon, and it's got British absurdism just down to a science. It was a flop on release, but in hindsight, It's a scathing parody that feels eerily timely right now. If Idiocracy had a zero-budget cousin from across the pond, this would be it.
Why are you so late, sir? You asked to be kept informed.
Have they tried to escape?
No.
Have they given something away?
They've started playing with the chess set.
Oh, this is a development.
No, it isn't.
I see.
Commander Madison.